Okay, guys, welcome back. Let's check out another clip before we get started.
Have they prepared you adequately for life?
No.
Like for real life?
No.
No?
No, I wasn't worrying about this like 4 years ago.
No.
They don't teach you about like mortgages, interest rates, or they don't teach you about like taxes like that in high school.
Taking independence in the home, making a lot of the payments, dealing with a lot of the chores.
Owning your own home.
Everything that you learn, you either learn from like other sources, I guess.
Now let's talk about school. And did school prepare them? Because evidently you can see their opinion is schooling did not prepare them for real life. So what's going on? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I didn't really love school myself personally, and there were a lot of things I look at now in my life and go, why didn't they teach us this? Why didn't they do this? Could I have done it earlier? So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of school. I think school is important, absolutely. I think applying yourself as a young person, I think that's the biggest. That's a very important step in your life. But going back to that, Vince. You know what? I agree with a lot of what they said. There's not a lot of that fundamentals that's been talked about in school.
Right. And what could schools do better now? And like, what should they be teaching? Andrew, give me your thoughts. Top three things they should be teaching.
You think if you're running, a gym, a golf course, a ski hill, a resort, that you would have to learn about money, right? So we did have an accounting class, but it was just like a click and drag. It was debits in credits, learning about the differences between the two, and it had no literacy aspect. It was more organization of an Excel spreadsheet.
It's so funny you mention that because I had the privilege of going to speak to grade 12 students recently, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I done it 2 years ago, and the same gazed in La La Land.
But were they interested, or
You know what? I would say a third of them were very engaged.
Okay.
And then I would engage them with questions to get them involved. And then the rest was basically like, when is this over?
I know what you're doing.
Exactly. And no interest. But there was 3 or 4 that were dynamic. They were asking great questions. And then you could see almost like a light bulb go on.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it, I go, wait, could this be the little spark? So I talked to them about simplicity things, about first-time home buyer. What is an RSP? How can you use that? What does the tax-free do for you? How can you think about buying a home? And what would it take? And understanding leverage and in mortgages and all that. And so the ones that were listening and engaged, you saw a little spark. So unfortunately, though, the schools are doing a horrible job. Kudos to the guidance counselor that wanted that spoken to the grade 12 students.
Invited you in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They invited me in, which is, bar none, I wish was done in every high school.
I agree. Practical, to Tony's point, practical experience, throwing them in the fire, co-ops. I was fortunate in college to do co-ops.
Right.
And it took me from the schooling aspect of it, learning the basic, accounting principles to going to the dealership and actually learning what the sales managers and GMs are actually doing on on a day-to-day basis. And if it wasn't for that, I feel, you're coming out of school.
How many of us have taken like a test, right, or read a book on a course, and it's very different in practice, like in real life.
Real estate's one of the perfect examples, right?
Well,
Actually how it works.
it's interesting because I've also trained and mentored MBA graduates from university.
Right.
And in my years in management, it was mind-boggling how little they knew about just regular money. They were very good at doing a test and do a mathematical equation, but to actually implement it on the day-to-day, cash flow sheet or to explain that. And then the other part of it is you can learn something, but are you able to implement?
Well, and I think one big piece that we're missing as well is the networking aspect and learning how to talk and deal with people. That goes hand in hand. Finding yourself a mentor might not be as easy as it seems. Just finding somebody who's gone and done it. Having the ability to, I think even when I was a kid, I lacked the ability to, think about my future. I can only think about it right now. And had I had somebody, kind of holding my hand, but that right person, and then that opens doors to an even bigger network.
Right.
That just always helps you get stuff done.
So it sounds like, and
it sounds like all of us, I didn't like school. I mean, Andrew, and I think Andrew, all of
It
you
was fun
guys-
to party and
so it
everything,
was-
but I mean,
right. So it was more or less to
I
get
wanted to
through.
work.
Yeah, I mean, I never really studied much, and I kind of just paid attention, and then kind of, for me, it worked out. It doesn't work out like that for everybody.
There's still a lot.
But as you saw in the clip, a lot of people were saying that school didn't prepare them. But is it only the school's responsibility?
Well, that's a very good point.
Who else's responsibility is it?
Honestly, after 19, it's your own. It's your own. Obviously, your parents, but you don't get to choose your parents.
Right.
So, okay, the parents' responsibility to give basic information, yes, but I don't think it's ultimately everybody, because where your path lies in life.
It would be wonderful if the parents were engaging
Absolutely.
with this at a young age. So can you imagine even just having a little, chore book where you get paid 10 cents and, you mark it in there, and that, thankfully, my wife was great at that. She would actually have the kids do chores, and then they would get a stipend at the end of the week, but they would mark it down. And they actually kept a log.
It's like their pay stub.
Exactly. And it was really interesting. It was on very simple, basic principles. But, I would encourage any parent out here listening today to take your young children and to maybe use the chores as a segue into talking about money, saving, going down to the bank and opening up a little account, putting those $10 in or $15 in, get them exposed to the banking system, getting them exposed to remove the fear. I remember when my kids were in that 10 to 14 age bracket, they were actually nervous to go and pay for something at the counter. And I thought that was crazy because when we were kids, we were
the cash.
we were told to go to the store and go buy the stuff.
walk to the store
And we
and buy
walked to the store and just pay the guy, right?